As you know by now, being around nature to me is spiritually uplifting as it is inspirational. The integrity of nature is not unlike the comfort and honesty of true friendship, except, of course, that nature is as prolific as true friendship is rare. I know the value of true friendship. Today's inspirational mental voyage had to do with the value of cooperation versus competition. What if we lived in a more cooperative society? That was my thought as I walked through nature today and I watched these birds. What if people's lives were more valued than money? For example, what if we built less prisons to house the underclass and more schools to educate the poor and disenfranchised? And I mean real schools to educate rather than just buildings to house students. It would mean perhaps less competition in the workplace. But wouldn't that be better and more humane a solution than, say, the so-called solution of housing our minorities financially and otherwise? In my mind, I see that in our quest to foster more and more competition among people, we have developed a society that lacks real education to fill the needs of what should be, what should have been, a progressive world. We don't have quality people employed. Instead, we employ people to fill vacancies to comply with the law, which in my view now fosters rude, uneducated, and unresponsive clerks and customer service employees. Rude clerks and front desk personnel have become so commonplace that such behavior is tolerated as a fact of modern life. That is a shame. They don't know any better is our gut feelings as we walk away. And that, as I said, is a shame. I see greed as the underscored reason for such demeaning behavior. We foster competition so hard in the workplace so that we can get the cheapest labor to do the least amount of quality work for the longest period of time. Isn't that amazing? Commerce to me can be and is sometimes about greed, and greed is about competition. Of course, the idea of cooperation, not competition, is not new, but it is worth pursuing. These are my proposals, and of course, be free to add your proposals, please. Number 1, let's do more to foster cooperation among all people. It is not easy to go against the notion that competition is always good, but we can try. By the way, I am the first to say that competition has its place, but it should not be the driving force among people. Number 2, let's start by doing some grassroots practical things. For example, if you believe as I do, let's identify ourselves. Let's call ourselves the cNOTc people. You know, cooperation, not competition people. You can make the stickers, and please send me one when you do. Number 3, let's tackle the biggest headaches of our country, the most divisive headache in our country, and that is the unfair tax system. The rich pay little tax and the poor get screwed always. Let's get the president to spearhead a campaign to do away with our present tax code, all of it, by 2015, and start afresh. When a building costs more to fix than to build, do you know what they do? That's right, they demolish the old building and then they build a new building. I'm advocating demolish our present tax system and to start fresh by having each community, city, county, state design their own tax system to benefit their own system and their own citizens, and have the federal government justify their need for taxes, which is to say they do need to tax, but have them justify each and every need. The other thing which I think is extremely important, each tax law should have a limited lifespan of no more than 5 years, with a mandatory revision of each tax law each and every 5 years. I think that's a must. We have tax codes in our books that are so useless. All it does is to help the greedy, unethical, and the horrible people make more money, while the little people get squashed every time. Number 4, let us get our country back on an ethical track. First, by having Congress accountable to the American people and not the lobbyist. Each congressman or woman must be subjected to annual scrutiny by the people via competent journalists and publications. Unethical, greedy, and do-nothing Congress people should not be immune to prosecution, and they should be exposed and dismissed from office without pension. These people go into office with the trust of the American people, who, by the way, do not have the time to monitor their own welfare. That is why we elect representatives. Number 5, let's get the country back to work. A, encourage recycling older cars by encouraging a new industry of car recycling companies. That's right. There are many of us who do not need to impress the neighbor with new cars. We simply want a car that is safe, comfortable, and fuel efficient. Those jobs can never go overseas. That is, for example, modernize the dash, repaint the older car, redo the interior, replace the engines and transmissions with more efficient systems. Make it so that to recycle is 30% less than buying a new car. Can you imagine the jobs that would be created? Not to mention, of course, what good it would do to the environment. And while we're at it, let's recycle industrial machines, boats, trucks, airplanes, you name it. Let's do it for the environment's sake, too. And then, let's get our interstate highways repaired. Have you driven down Highway 95 lately? And of course, let's make it mandatory to recycle all engine fluids. For example, engine oil don't get bad, it gets dirty. Why dump it when it can be refurbished, recycled? Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time today, but you get the idea. Right? Right on.